Hey guys, you are listening to episode 14 of AR Minuteman Moment. Today we're going to talk about airmen as innovators and the impact that they've had on the Air Force and in our wing. Today I have with me Lieutenant Colonel Fitzpatrick, who is our lead in innovation here at the wing, and I have Staff Sergeant Wright, who has been working really close with Colonel Fitzpatrick on several big projects. So welcome guys, good to have you here.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Great. So the first thing I want to talk about is, innovation. What is it? What is it that people can do? What is our impact, right? So innovation has a huge impact in many different ways on different wings, units, or whatever. So fiscally, is there a fiscal impact that innovation has had, within our wing?
Yeah, innovation is a funny thing because it looks like an expenditure. Well, it is an expenditure, but you have to make it an investment instead. So up front, you're going to spend money, and then you hope that on the back end, over the long term, you save money, and not only save money, but improve processes and make people's lives better. So fiscally, what we've done here is one of our big projects was the FAR UV lamps we covered on another podcast. Now we want to keep that going. One of our big efforts this year is a supplemental funding that we got. We're going to spend some money to make that product much, much cheaper. That saves us $300,000 a year to keep the same ability to protect our airmen against COVID or whatever else comes around during flu season. So investments like that, Staff Sergeant Wright's going to talk here in a little bit about the Siren project we have going on, which is the enlisted promotion that we've made in-house for the state of Arkansas. We made that for 8% of cost. So when you look at something you were going to have to get anyway, and then you make it much, much cheaper or much, much better for the same cost, that is an innovative process. That is how you save your money or at least get much, much more out of your money.
Cool. All right. Easy day. So what do you guys say that maybe the physical impact has been on some of these innovative projects that we've implemented throughout the wing?
Well, we've had such a variety of projects, and we're still standing up what we're calling Spectrum because we do everything, whatever comes across our desk, we try to do. We have, for example, something up in FSS, we have a sign-in at the computer. Instead of being in the waiting room, especially during the winter months, or we have older retirees, we don't want to be spreading germs and disease. Well, we don't do that anymore. You sign in, I believe you can get a text. It's much easier. So that space in the building looks different now. We have done things like our auditorium. That was an innovative project. That was something that we haven't done before. We got a lot of kudos for that. That's a much better project now. We can put people in there and do better presentations. It's basically a movie theater. So things like that are very obvious. We have our fighter project that is going to deploy in October. That is going to make a different space for training in a different way. So instead of airmen having to go up the road and schedule training a month or two in advance for deployment, we're hoping that we will get a strong partnership with AMC. Well, that's going to change how airmen do that training. They're going to go down to their vault after lunch and do it instead of scheduling a month or two. So it's as much process as physical. A lot of innovation is paperwork, and if you're lucky, you'll never see it. You won't have to do it. It'll just show up as an awesome thing on your doorstep one day. And so it's more about what are our airmen doing and how are they doing it. We're not building new buildings. We're not, putting up towers.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So, I guess there's been a lot of innovation within the wing. We've had a lot of projects that have been implemented, a lot of stuff done successfully. But it's awesome that we can continue to do that kind of stuff and make our wing better for everybody else too. So I know there's like a space you guys have designated to be able to do all this type of stuff. So talk about the Innovation Lab and what's its purpose and what comes out of that.
So the Innovation Lab, for the most part, is a workspace for those of us that work in innovation to kind of just have an area where we can kind of let our thoughts flow and build what we need to. Right now it's just a couple computers down there and some whiteboards for us to work on, but we're hoping to kind of expand it out a little bit, get some more computer tech in there to help us make some website projects a little bit easier and whatnot. And just kind of a nice area where we can just kind of like work and be away from everything else, because It's kind of like if you have too many people around, you get the whole too many cooks in a kitchen kind of thing, spoils the broth. So just being a little bit separated out helps us avoid that issue of having, like, you know, people just being able to come in whenever they want and, like, kind of mess with us and bother us when we're trying to get, you know, our work done.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So, like, if somebody wanted to, like, share an innovative idea or something, do they go to the innovation lab? What would be that process? And what would be, like, their role in, you know, getting something to you guys and across the board and getting into seeing something come to fruition, essentially?
Yeah, and this is where we differ from a lot of wings. You know, we like to believe that whatever we're doing right now is most appropriate for the job right now. So we didn't build an innovation lab full of coffee makers and sofas and 3D printers. A lot of people are doing that, and I get that. Our innovation lab has gone through several changes. Right now, it is a workspace designed for coding, for some of the projects that our airman coders are producing, and for VR and 360 video content creation. Lots of cool toys. I'm not even going to lie. It's amazing to work down there. We have a great setup. We have commercial Wi-Fi, which is, you know, an uphill battle in a lot of places. But the idea that people are going to come sit down there just so they can think, that's not realistic. We tried that, and I think a lot of other people try that. You know, you're not getting off shift to go sit in innovation and let your creative juices flow. Like, planes need to fly, things need to get fixed. And so what our process has been is I try and put myself and our airmen out into the wing. We've got personnel out in maintenance group. Just get your idea to somebody. You know, we have a guard advantage. The guard advantage is that we don't have to move jobs every 2 years. So we've got 4 or 5 years of continuity. You get me the idea, you get me your plan. We will figure out how to get it on a contract. We have an amazing contracting team. We have amazing partnerships at ArcWorks who have really enabled a lot of this. And so if they get their idea to me, they tell me what they want to do, we'll put it into action. And we're really proud that over the last 3 years, we have not selected some for an action and then binned others. Everybody gets their idea put through. We'll find the money. You give me the idea and do the work. So all they have to do is get a hold of us. And I don't know, I think Chief Hunter over at Ops Group came to you guys with an idea. And it was actually a great one. So how did that work for you guys?
So for the most part, when he came to this with the idea, it was very kind of broad. He wanted to try and create a new promotion system for the wing based off of the tags directive. So when he first came to us, we kind of looked at that and was like, okay, what do we need to do to make this happen? How long would it take? You know, what's the cost analysis? And we kind of came back and we're like, all right, give us about a year or so, give us your requirements and we'll work through it. And with working with him as we've gone, it's gone very well to kind of keep up with that and going through the process with him and whatnot. The biggest thing has been making sure that we keep a lot of that customer interaction going because it's his idea at the end of the day. We're just making it happen.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So talking a little bit more about this. You're talking about the promotion tracker, right? Mm-hmm. So essentially, what does that do?
So it's kind of a 2-step thing. The first step is very member dependent, where they go and take their RIP from FSS or Mill PDS and upload it to the website. Mm-hmm. Goes through, pulls out all their information, like their enlistment date, date of rank, all that kind of information, and then it populates it onto their page. At the top of the page, it actually has the requirements based off their rank. So, you know, you have to be in 4 years to promote to staff and have a year in rank and all that good stuff, ALS. Well, when it pulls the information, it checks it against that tracker and then turns it to green or red if they have it or don't. Okay. So a member could go on there and be like, okay, well, in order to promote to staff or tech or whatever, these are the things I need to hit. Because one of the big issues with the wing and is that a lot of people just don't know what they need to actually promote.
Right.
Because, you know, you have to go through the AFIs, you have to talk with your supervisors, you have to dig through all that information to try and figure out, okay, I need, you know, ALS, I need my skill level, I need, for masters now to promote to senior and chief, you have to have an associates or higher. That's a new change that some people don't know about. All of that is auto-populated based off of what the AFI says. So a person go in there, check, see how they match up, and, you know, kind of have some control over what they're doing.
Yeah, and they have a good visual for that too. So, and then didn't you say like everything, if everything's the way it's supposed to be, like everything's in green, which
Mm-hmm.
means that you have that completed. Or if there's something in red, that means it's something you still need to do or
Yeah,
whatever.
it's a very clear visual for that.
Yeah.
And they can go in and write in like information about how they lead, how they, what their long-term, short-term goals are. And their supervisors and commanders can view all of that information and write comments on it as well.
Cool.
Just to kind of give them some feedback that, will kind of be a little bit more transparent than we've been in some regards.
Yeah.
Just so they can see kind of like how their leadership views them when they might not have that candid conversation all the time.
Yeah.
And that goes all the way up to the board too, right? They can see what the board wrote.
Yeah.
That would be cool. Feedback's good.
Mm-hmm. So the second part of it is actually for the board promotion system, which is basically where right now, we have all the paperwork that goes into having someone go up to a board where you have to go in and select your 5 members. You have to figure out all the people that are going up to it. You have to tally up their scores and the comments and figure out who it's going to be. And a lot of times people won't even know how they did on it.
Right.
They'll just go up there and, well, maybe I'll get it, maybe I won't. You don't really have much of an idea. With this part of it, one makes that whole selecting people, figuring out the list of everyone, all that digital. So no more paper trail with that. The second part of it is that whenever they put in the scores for ranking, all that is instantaneous. So they can automatically just go and check to see how people rank up against one another, how their scores look, how their information, so like their education, the comments from their supervisors and commanders can be viewed on the board. All that stuff is right there in front of them when they're going through the board process.
Right. That's cool.
And then after the board is done, whenever, they close it out and whatnot, member can go on their page and actually view the comments from the board on how they did, so that they don't have to sit in suspense for a long period of time and then maybe try to track someone down to ask them. They can just go and check after the board's done, be like, okay, I didn't get promoted. How come?
Yeah.
They can go and see, oh, I scored, 4th on the list and they chose number 1.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let me look at my comments for why. Oh, I didn't have, as many certs, or I don't lead people as well, or something like that.
Gotcha.
And this is a great, reach back to what you talked about with fiscal impact. Now, we hired on 2 permanent GS-11s. Staff Sergeant Wright is one, Senior Airman Burns is the other. So we paid up front. But this was done for 8% of commercial cost. This was about a $1.2 to $1.5 million application. Took us a few months. We did it. We paid their salaries. Well, now we saved 92% on that application.
Wow.
And that is being integrated directly into the tags policy. And guess what? We own it. We have other states already calling us saying, hey, when you're done, can we have that? It's like, yeah, it's free. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So we're seeing a ton of savings on the back end there.
That's awesome. That's really cool. It just goes to show that having those skills and the knowledge to be able to do something like that actually does pay off in the end. So, and it benefits more than just 1 or 2 people. That's awesome.
Well, and that's why you have to be out of the flow of sort of everyday things. These guys, I'm super proud of what they've done. They had to learn on the job. They knew some, they didn't know everything. And I don't have the answers for them. I say, it's the information age, learn. They've done a tremendous job. And now we have an app that we briefed to every chief that was available in the whole state yesterday.
Yeah.
And positive reviews all around.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, if the Chiefs are on board, then it's a thing, right?
It's a thing now.
Yep.
That's awesome. Yeah, apparently the whole my promotion thing, I don't know, is that still on the table?
That is off the table.
Okay. I know
yeah.
Chief Rowe didn't like that idea because anything that has a my in front of it, what did he say the other day?
It's going to break.
It's going to break.
When we went into the Chiefs meeting yesterday, they were like, hey, we want to find a new name for this. They're like, oh, well, please don't do my promotion. That just sounds terrible. And we're like, well, that was our one idea.
Yeah.
Well, we kind of have working names in the office that we apply to projects. And so they may just get the working name. We're not going to throw it out there yet because we don't have the approval. But the Chiefs, of course, kicked it back to the airmen and the staff, said, well, why don't you guys name it? And so
after we try to kick it to them.
That could be either a great idea or a really bad idea.
Well, they might get our name
What
for
is the
Siren right now.
okay,
It
that's
was
right.
it was
You said
Project
that.
Siren,
Okay.
and we talked about it yesterday. I said, you know what? That's what it was when it was born. That's what it's going to be.
yeah.
So we may have Siren being deployed here, and we're actually working with the Army to just rework a little bit of the framework and let them use it, and we could save hundreds and hundreds of man hours up on Camp Robinson as well.
Nice. So we talked about how to propose an innovative idea to leadership, well, to you guys. But as far as proposing ideas to leadership, is that something that you guys would help them with too? Like once you guys vet it and stuff like that, it just goes straight up. You're like, okay, here's what we got. Do you guys ever get one-on-ones with the commander, or how does that work?
We do. We're very lucky to have leadership that is exactly bracketed on where they need to be on innovation.
Yeah.
We have not been forced to do an innovative project, period. They don't come to us and say, you're going to do this for innovation. We collect the ideas. We obviously have to do the paperwork. We write up the paperwork for contracting. We figure out the strategy, but we bring it to leadership and say, hey, we got our funding. I go out and find the funding. That's what I do most of the year, is just go shake the tin can and hope for money. I present the ideas. They say, okay. We give an update every couple of weeks for 19th Air Force, but we don't get told what we're going to innovate. This is really led by airmen.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a lieutenant colonel, but that's about as high as it goes.
Yeah.
And we've been very successful, and we've been given a lot of money this year. We did $1.9 million in innovation this year.
That's insane. And I think it has a lot to do with the fact that we have a lot of airmen in here who have good ideas. So instead of, pulling teeth to get ideas out of people or to use our innovative processes, we have people who want to do that and who want to come forward with their ideas. So I don't know if every other wing is like that, but I feel like we're pretty lucky that we have a lot of airmen in here who pretty smart, want to share those ideas. So
we do, and if you can keep commander level action down at not the commander level, so we have the corporate knowledge. We don't have to have the commander tell everybody to help. I'll help you. I can do that. Yeah. And so I can work with an airman or a sergeant. We'll get it done, and we don't need to involve all the paperwork and the briefings and the meetings.
Right. Easy day. So do you guys deal with AFWorks or any of the other innovation, brands that the Air Force has pushed out to kind of move processes along?
We do, and innovation is personal relationships. If you don't have somebody to call at 9 p.m. when something blows up, then you're not going to win. It's just how it is. We've worked with StrikeWorks, AFWorks, ArcWorks, most of the workses. This year, our major investors were ArcWorks. We have a solid years-long relationship with ArcWorks. We love working with them, and they've dropped seed money on so many projects. AFWorks has funded us to the tune of millions of dollars now for some of our projects with research and development money. And then we actually got funded by the Morpheus team, which works for the Vice Chief of Staff this year. They invested $400,000 in our fighter innovation, which is great because now we're on that list, and they get a bi-monthly briefing. Where's my money at? Mm-hmm. How's my investment going? And what can my team of officers do to move hurdles out of the way?
Is that normal to have people investing in you like that? Like, do other wings have that much success in getting people to sponsor them, help them out with things like that?
I can't comment on other wings. I really can't, because there's no normal in innovation. You're just pivoting and scrambling all the time. And if you throw enough things at the wall, something's going to stick. Every time my projects are out of money and I quit and I say, that's it, we're done, this isn't going to go any further, somebody calls me and says, hey, you want some money?
Yeah.
And if you build that network, you build those relationships, you are going to get your project over the finish line. And so I can't say there's a normal, we have HercWorks down the street. They do great stuff for the 19th Airlift Wing in Little Rock Air Force Base. We loosely associate, we help where we can. They helped us out a lot this year. We try to do the same thing. But there's no strategy to this. It's just don't quit and do whatever you think is best right now, and it'll work out.
So, what is on the table for your next project?
Well, we've got a couple things that we've been looking at. The two biggest ones that I know we've talked about was trying to take this current idea over to the Army side to kind of help them with their promotion process, at least as far as keeping track of soldiers. Because with them, when they have so many people, you tend to have a lot of people that kind of fall through the cracks when it comes to like the promotion issues and whatnot. So just a system that can help them at least keep track of like a lot of the lower enlisted, because with them, they got all their DSGs. I can kind of speak a little bit about this since my brother's in the Army Guard.
Oh, okay.
But they have a lot of DSGs that, they're only there on the weekends. They don't ever really go on orders or anything, so they don't really look at their requirements at all, and they just expect their supervisors to do it. But when a supervisor over there has 10 to 20 guys who he doesn't talk to throughout the month, It's really hard to know, like, okay, it's this guy's month to get promoted, or it's this guy's, or however it might go. So just giving them a method of just easily, you know, going and checking, okay, this person's good this month, this person's good next month, so on and so forth, to kind of help with that.
Yeah. It once again goes down to the visual of everything. And not only that, but you have everything all in one place where you can just go through, you know, the tabs and be like, this person's good, this person's good, this person's good.
Yeah.
Are you going to make it so people who are DSGs and don't have access to like a CAC-enabled devices can log in and see what they need to do?
There's a lot of issues with that. One of the things is that since we are just tied to the 189th, we're not any sort of national or federal organization. Being able to get the ability to do it like on the wider internet outside of just our base will take years at least.
Oh, okay.
So while that's kind of like a dream, we'd love to have the stuff be open like that. That's just like so far down the line, we want to make sure it works locally first. And
Right.
like, we're trying to make the system as easy as possible where they can, on their drill, we can just go in, upload their rip, and then just check it real fast and then move on with their day.
Yeah.
Not have it any sort of long process where they have to type in a bunch of information or anything like that. Ideally not have it where it, you know, takes an hour to load like some of the other services. Just, you know, real quick, do it, move on with your life.
Yep. Easy day. Well, that sounds really cool. I mean, I'm looking forward to being able to see it in action and use it myself.
Well, it's what we tell everybody. We'll deploy it, it'll break, we'll fix it, you'll hate it, then we'll fix it, and you're going to love it.
Yeah.
That's all innovation projects that go in that order.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds about right. Awesome. All right. Well, do you guys have anything else you want to talk about? Anything that I overlooked? You guys are the innovation experts. So I'm sure there's questions that need answers, and I don't know what I don't know.
Well, I would just say for National Guard Bureau, make sure you're calling ArcWorks often. Pardon me. Make sure you're calling ArcWorks often. They're a tremendous resource. Hans Jago is up there. He's a lieutenant colonel. He runs that organization. They are phenomenal. I've worked with all the other works. They're probably the most effective, the most lightweight. We've had a long-standing, great relationship with them, and I can't speak enough about how much they've done for our wing. And, you know, fiscal year's over. That means innovators get to work. Start your plans, get your ideas, start your paperwork. So by the time March comes around, you're ready to execute. That's how we get all the money.
Nice. All right.
If possible, I'd like to drop a thanks to 2 different groups.
Of course.
First one would be the communications flight. They've been a huge help because this project's obviously going to go on their network for this. So they've been a huge help in helping us figure out what we can do, what we can't do, and how to actually get it on the network eventually. The other one would be Cyber, who recently helped us out a lot doing a penetration test for the website, going through and trying to hack it and break it and all that kind of stuff. They gave us a huge list of things that, you know, we kind of need to go through and fix up or tighten up a little bit for security. But just having that, the fact they took time out of their drill and their week to help us with that was a huge help.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's good to have people like that here. We're pretty lucky that we have great communications guardsmen and great cyber guardsmen. So, and civilians too at cyber. So,
Yep,
absolutely.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for being here. I hope everybody gets something out of this, and I hope we can see some more ideas coming across the desk. So we'll see, though, right? All right.
Absolutely. Well, thank you.
Awesome. Thanks,
Yep.
guys.
Thank you. Yep.
We are mission-ready airmen providing premier training to the C-130 and cyber enterprises, capitalizing on partnerships to support the state and defend the nation. Our vision is to be a diverse family of airmen, dedicated, adaptive, and empowered to lead.